Well, hello guys and girls out there, wherever you are. Welcome to another totally random weekly video. And in today's video, I want to explain to you why and how to use a Minidisc deck to digitize your cassettes or your vinyl records, because that's exactly what I've been doing for the last couple of years right now, and I'm very satisfied with it. And there are quite a few problems that you can avoid with this technique. I already made a similar video about digitizing vinyl records with mini discs. The link to this video is down in the description. That video was a little bit different because I was using a portable high MD recorder to digitize the records. So you would record the vinyl records onto a high MD in lossless PCM quality. Then you would plug it into your computer with a USB cable, and you would use something like Sonic Stage to import that music from the high MD onto your computer and convert it into a lossless WAV file. Well, this method is going to be different, and that's why I'm making this video. And before I go any further, a lot of the problems that I address in this video have something to do with using a Mac, an Apple computer. And I'm fully aware that Apple computers are somewhat overpriced and that they just suck nowadays compared to how great they used to be in the past. And I'm not an Apple fanboy. I don't want you to start any Mac versus PC debate in the comments. And just for the record, all my Apple devices, they are all second hand. So I just wanted to get this out of the system. And yeah, let me just show you what we have to do. Okay, so this is the basic setup that we're going to use. So here we have the record player. We plug it into the phono preamp if you don't already have one in your record player. Then we go from the phono preamp into the analog line in of the Minidisc deck. And then we're going to use the digital optical line out of the Minidisc deck to go into the optical line in of the computer, in this case the Mac. So why would you do that? Why don't we just plug the phono preamp directly into the Mac? Well, with my current phono preamp, I have the problem that when I plug it into the Mac, I have a really weird and annoying hum, and I don't know what's causing it. I also have this problem when I plug in my cassette deck. There's just some kind of a hum, and I had this problem with my previous iMac as well. So I don't know what it is about the line in or the analog line in of the Mac, but it's causing a really weird hum. And we can avoid this hum by using the Minidisc deck and the optical cable instead of the analog cable. And it's not a problem with the phono preamp so much, because if I plug this phono preamp into any other device, the hum is gone, or at least it's not audible anymore. So yeah, I really don't know why it is so annoying when I'm using the line in of the Mac. Also, with my last iMac, I think it was a late 2006 model, I had the weird problem that the preamp I was using back then was too loud. So I had this really weird problem that I could only lower the volume of the line in of my Mac to a certain point, but not below that point. So even the lowest volume setting of the line in would still be too loud, and there would be a lot of clipping. But it looks like they solved this problem. And another problem that we have is, like I said, Apple isn't really what it used to be. So they reduce a lot of the things in order to make those Macs as thin as possible, which is a bunch of bullshit that you sacrifice quality over design or because of design. So you have a lot of Apple computers out there nowadays that don't even have a line in anymore. So you can't plug in an audio device to record or digitize your records. So that's why the Minidisc deck comes in handy, because we can use the optical line out of the Minidisc deck, and there are adapters optical to USB, and we can use a USB port of the Mac to use it as our input and record the music that way. It sucks that you have to do it when you have such an expensive computer, but you know, like I said, please no Mac versus PC debate. But yeah, those are some of the problems that we can solve by using the Minidisc deck. So let me show you what kind of settings we have to use on the Minidisc deck. So here we have the Minidisc deck, and all we have to do is we have to choose the input to be analog, like this, and then we push record without a Minidisc inside, and this way we enter the monitor mode. So now we can hear the music from the source and it's being digitized, and we can see right here that it's being converted from an analog to a digital signal, but also back from a digital signal into an analog signal in case we would use the analog line out of the Minidisc deck, which would make absolutely no sense, because this way the signal would be converted 3 times. So one conversion is of course better than 3. We can also enter the setup menu to adjust the volume of the analog line in, so the volume from the phono preamp, so that it's below 0 dB, so that there isn't any clipping, because this thing is digitizing the signal, and of course if the volume would be above 0 dB, the volume that comes from the analog line in, it would cause clipping. So what we would do is we would record with our computer, we would record a signal that is already a clipping or clipped signal, and that's not what we want. So we can adjust the volume of the analog line in to be below 0 dB, and then we are ready to go. Yeah, the question is right now, how many Minidisc decks do have this monitor function? I don't really know. I don't know how you can figure this out. There aren't any informations on any websites about the monitor function. So I guess most of the Minidisc decks have this function. And the good thing is you don't need to spend an awful lot of money on a Minidisc deck, because you could also get a broken Minidisc deck, because if you're really just using it to digitize your stuff, we don't need the ability to record a Minidisc. It doesn't need to be able to read a Minidisc. We really just need that monitor function, and that's very unlikely to break. So yeah, that's really great. Now the most important question is, of course, what kind of a quality can we achieve with that? Well, that of course depends on what kind of a Minidisc deck you have. There is Minidisc decks with 20-bit analog to digital converters. This one is a Minidisc deck with a 24-bit analog to digital converter. So it really depends on the disc. So I really recommend that you check out, yeah, I know it's really reflecting. I really hate that. you can check out minidisc.org and see what you can find. What minidisc decks have a 20-bit, what minidisc decks have a 24-bit. So here we have, for example, the Sony MDS-J A555 ES, and as we can see right here, 24-bit analog to digital converter. So yeah, so the quality that you can achieve with this is with this minidisc deck is 24-bit and 44.1 kilohertz. Now I know that there's a lot of people out there who say, wait a second, minidisc is using a format. The format that a minidisc is using is called a track or a track, and it's a loosey compression format similar to MP3. So if we record the signal that comes from the minidisc deck, doesn't that mean that we are recording a loosey compressed signal? No, it doesn't. When we are in the monitor mode, the signal that comes out of the minidisc deck is digitized, but it's not compressed. There are quite a few people who did a lot of studies and who ran a lot of tests to figure out if the signal that comes out is compressed or uncompressed. And they came to the conclusion that if we are in monitor mode, like we are right now, the signal is uncompressed. And also if you record a minidisc, the music that you hear while you are recording is also still the uncompressed signal, because the compression really only happens right before the signal is being written onto the disc. So think of it as if you would have a cassette deck with only 2 tape heads. If you record a cassette, the music that you hear is still the music from the source, not the music from the recording. So that's kind of like how you can imagine this. So we really end up with a lossless 24-bit 44.1 kilohertz signal, and that's enough for me. Even if I would use a higher quality, I probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference, at least not with the equipment that I'm using. So yeah, that's it. I hope I could help you a little bit. I hope it has been informative, and I see you in the next totally random video. Bye.